Hello, this is RP Wolff. I'm an author of 5 action-packed, page-turning suspense and paranormal thrillers. The purpose of this video is to show you how to create a paperback in Word to publish it in Amazon KDP's format. So what we have to do is we're going to create a PDF file that can be uploaded to Amazon. And the significance of this is that it will also tell us how many pages there are, and we need to know how many pages in order to create a cover. Now I have separate videos on how to create a cover in Microsoft Publisher, and I also have a separate video on how to create the actual Kindle format using Kindle Create, which creates a KPF file. So before you begin this process, I would make a copy of your master document so you can make changes to this, and if you mess it up, you can just start over. I want to show you an example of before and after. So here, this is the book I'm going to be working on, Mother of All the Gods. Here is the format that I use while typing the book. And when we get done with this process, it's going to look like this. It's going to have our page numbering up there, and then every chapter heading, the first page of a chapter will not have page numbering, and that's a little tricky. And so so there's 5 steps to doing this. The first step in doing this is you got to set the margins and layout, and that's relatively easy. Then we're going to clean up the formatting. For example, this chapter 1 is not big enough. I need to change this heading. And I also need to have more spacing underneath. Once we have that rectified, then we're going to add sections before each heading. And the significance of that is that when we go to number, it's not going to put a number on each chapter's page. Then we're going to save it as a PDF. So let's get started. Okay, the first step, as I mentioned, was to change the layout and margins. So this is really the easiest part. So you go to layout and you go to page setup and you just hit this bottom thing over here. And so now we're going to set our margins, and I'll put the margins in the comment section. But we're going to do, and this is for 5 1/4 by 8. So we're going to change this to 0.76 inches. Oops. And the bottom is 0.5. To the left. Oh wait, you got to do mirror margins. All right, so this is 0.65. And I will say that Amazon, you can download templates from Amazon. I tried that. It didn't work for me, and I just do this. It doesn't take long. I found this to work for me. You could always change it to better serve what you need to do. So what you need to do is select whole document. Now what I found is that after I do this, and when I get it all done, it has it applied to this section, but for purposes of this, you need to select whole document. Now we're going to go to the next tab, which is paper. And this is, again, we're doing 5.25 by 8. Now, if your book is different dimensions, then you're going to have to look on Amazon and see what to use, and you're going to have to play with it. And so it's going to be 5 1/4 by 8. And then, again, apply the whole document. And then I go to layout, keep this new page selected, do different odd and even and different first pages. That's extremely important. And then it's going to be 0.4, 0.3. Whoops, I got too many points. And with vertical alignment, we'll just do top. And again, whole document. So this is like the first step. This is not a valid measurement. Oh, I had too many points there. So you hit OK, and boom, we have this document. And so now, before we get into numbering and section breaks, we are going to change the style of our chapter headings. It's way too small. And so the way to do that in one swoop is use styles, and we're going to go to this heading. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to change it to 22. I'm going to go to Format, Paragraph, and before and after. So before, I want 2 inches, and I got to put the 2 and quote mark, which means inches, and then I want 0.5 inches after. And I don't want multiple line spacing, I want single. And on line breaks, you want to have, I think this is okay. So you hit OK. And as you can see, we got 2 inches from the top and a 0.5 to the next where the text is. And as you can see, we're gonna insert section breaks in there where it'll create a new page. So, okay, one thing you can do is, let's say you want to get fancy and have a drop cap. I've done this in several of my books. To create a drop cap, you got to do it individually for each chapter, which is kind of a pain. You highlight the letter you want to do a drop cap. You go to Insert, and then you select the drop cap, and you can change the format of that. I'm going to undo that. Also, you can, what a lot of people do when they write a book, they might change the first 5 letters, 5 words of the paragraph and change the font. I'll show you how I did that in my other book, All of a Sudden, which was my last book I published before this. And so I changed the font of the first few words to this copperplate Gothic. You can use whatever you want, but for purposes of this drill, we're not going to do that. So we need to go to the 3rd step, which is adding section breaks before each chapter. Okay, so we had to add section breaks before each chapter, and the reason why we do that, remember when we were in the margins and we selected different first page? And that's because we don't want page numbering on the first page of a chapter. And because of that, we have to go through this drill of putting in section breaks before each chapter. It's not that hard. It is a little time consuming, but you go to the layout, you put the cursor right before the chapter, and you go to breaks, next page. Then you go to the next chapter, breaks, next page. Now what that does is, let me go back to prologue here. Let me go to home. There's a little trick here. You're going to be using this especially when we get to the page numbering, but you want to hit this paragraph mark. And this paragraph mark will show us that here's the section break that we did. And so we're going to keep going here. Did we already do one here? Yeah, we already did one here. So chapter 2, I don't think we did one. Okay, so watch what happens when I do the section break. I'm going to go to layout. It's going to create a new page. Section break, next page. So it creates the next page. So then we do this for each one. Now what I did was I went ahead and already did this. So I'm going to go ahead and open my file here, and to save us time, I went ahead and put section breaks before each chapter. So you can see section break. I'll go down here. So now we're getting to the hardest part, what I think is the hardest part, and so counterintuitive. This is not easy. All right, so we need to number odd pages different than even pages. And what we have here is, here's the first page, 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't really want to start the book on an even page. So I'm going to create another section break here. And okay. So we want, and here's the thing I don't like about Word. So this is really an odd page. Now when you look at a book, the odd pages are always on the right and the even pages are on the left, but here it's the opposite. So you gotta realize, so like for example, here is the gutter, and this would really be on the right hand side, and this is an even page, and that would really be on the left side. And I'll show you what I mean by this. When you double click here, it tells you this is the header, even page header, and this is the first page header because it's the first page of this section. And here's the odd page header. So what we have to do is, so we're going to, so we're going to start with the even page header. So we're going to go to insert up here. You go to header footer. And we're going to go to page numbering, and I do top of the page. You can use any format you want. And so on the even, it's going to go on the left hand side, and this is the format I use. So it is starting with page 6, but this is really page 2. So we're going to highlight this because it's thinking all the pages before are part of this. So we're going to format page numbers. And we're going to start at 2. We'll see what happens here. Whoa, what the heck happened? Okay, I figured out the problem, and this is really quirky, this word. The problem was I shouldn't really have started with the even page. I needed to start with the odd page. And remember, I made this an odd page. And normally odd pages would go on the right and even pages would go on the left. That just makes it more difficult. So I'm going to actually go down to here. And I'm going to insert page number at the top of the page. And this is going to be on the right because it's an odd page. And it makes it page 7, but we want to change that to, we want to format the page number. We want to restart it on page 1. And there, we got page 3. So this is page 1, page 2, and page 3. Now we got to do the same thing. Well, here, what we would do here is on odd pages is the title of the book, I believe. Let me just check and make sure that's right. Yep. And I like this generic format that they use. I use this in my books. Okay, then over here, we're going to do the even, and even is top of the page, and that's going to be on the left. It automatically put the right page in there. And this is where you put the author's name. Okay, so that was the hardest part, and hopefully it didn't put it on top of here, and it didn't. Okay, so now, and when you just double click in the header, it brings up the same as previous, and that's something that you can also do. But so I got this to work. So let's just see how it's going. Okay, so again, this is why Word is a little bit confusing. This would normally be on this side, and this would be on the following even page. So let's just see, we want to make sure it didn't put any header on the new chapters. and it looks like it's working fine. So it looks like we got 368 pages. So let's go over here, chapter 5, new page, no numbering. You don't want to ever, it would look awkward, not professional. Now let's go down to our back matter. So what happens is sometimes, okay, so here, it put a page number here. We don't want that. And the way to get rid of that is to double click in here. And we don't want it linked to the previous. So we uncheck that and then we just go in and delete it. And if there's any more, we would do the same thing. So, but it doesn't disturb this. And so it's 368 pages. These are total pages. Even that page that we inserted before here, it's 368 total pages. So now let me get rid of this paragraph marks. And that is just shows you where the paragraph marks are. It doesn't actually print. Now we are, I would probably go ahead and save this. And now, just to save it as a PDF, you would go to File, Save as PDF. But I don't think it lets me do this anymore for some reason because I subscribe. Let's just see if it lets me do it. Oh, it is letting me do it. That's good. Oh, okay, it won't let me do it because I stopped subscribing to Adobe, and I have to go on my desktop to actually do it. But I have done that, and let me show you what the final paperback version looks like. So let's just go to properties. This looks like really big, but let me go to view and page display, 2-page view. And let's go to properties. You will see it's 5.5 by 8. And in this case, it was only 365 pages. When I finally did it, I did some stuff to make it only 365. But here is the PDF file, and now you can upload this to Amazon. Thank you, and have a great day.